back to our channel. Everyone, it is a truly fascinating day to unpack the incredible, layered drama unfolding in Genoa City. We are witnessing some of the most complex psychological warfare we've ever seen. Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's dive deep into the minds of our favorite characters. Because things are getting intensely emotional and incredibly dark. You know, watching Phyllis Summers right now is just... it's actually painful. I mean, we all know Phyllis is a survivor. She always has been. She has clawed her way out of impossible situations more times than we can count. But seeing her completely cornered like this, it's different this time. Victor Newman has systematically dismantled her entire world. He didn't just attack her company, he bought out her loyalty. He paid off her entire staff to just walk away. Imagine walking into your own company, a place you built from the ground up, a place you poured your absolute soul into, and finding it completely empty. The sheer silence of the Summers conglomerate. It must be deafening for her. You can almost feel her panic, that tight, suffocating feeling in her chest as she realizes she has absolutely no one left to run her empire, and the worst part, she doesn't even know the full extent of what's coming. And then, we have Victoria Newman. Oh, Victoria. Sometimes I look at her, and I just see Victor in a different suit. It's chilling, really, how much she has absorbed her father's absolute ruthlessness. She knows Phyllis is on the brink of total collapse. She can smell the desperation from miles away. Victoria isn't just sitting back and watching the staff exodus. She's actively analyzing Phyllis's next move. She realizes something crucial, something that makes my blood run cold. Victoria knows that when Phyllis is backed into a corner, she doesn't just surrender. She bites back, hard, and Victoria suspects, or perhaps she just anticipates, that Phyllis will try to steal Victor's new artificial intelligence program to use as leverage. It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? The idea of Phyllis getting her hands on that AI. But Victoria, she is always 10 steps ahead. She isn't going to wait for Phyllis to make a desperate move. She wants to crush her before she even forms a coherent plan. And to do that, she needs an inside man. She needs someone who can slip past Phyllis's defenses, someone Phyllis would never suspect in her current, paranoid state. And who does she choose? Kane Ashby. It's actually a stroke of evil genius, if you think about it. Kane, the man who is currently drowning in his own emotional turmoil, desperately trying to prove his worth. Let's just pause and think about Kane for a moment. My heart really aches for him, even though he makes the most frustrating decisions. He came back to Genoa City with such pure intentions, didn't he? He came back to be a rock for Lily. Lily, who is currently enduring a waking nightmare as her father, Malcolm, fights for his life against aplastic anemia. Kane wants to be the hero. He is pulling every string, using every resource he has to find a bone marrow donor for Malcolm. He wants to save the day. He wants to look into Lily's eyes and see that love, that deep, historical trust, rekindled. He is so vulnerable right now. So desperate to be the man Lily needs him to be. And Victoria, she sees this desperation not as a noble trait, but as a weapon she can easily wield. The meeting between Victoria and Kane, I can just picture it perfectly. The cold, sterile environment of Newman Enterprises, the power dynamic so heavily skewed in Victoria's favor. She probably offered him a drink, smiled that tight, corporate smile, and then she dropped the bomb. She doesn't just ask for a favor. She offers him a massive, life-changing sum of money. A sum so large it would secure his children's future forever. But the price is his soul. She wants Kane to play the hero for Phyllis. She knows Phyllis is desperate for a friendly face, someone to lean on while her professional life burns to the ground. Victoria tells Kane to go to Phyllis, to offer a shoulder to cry on, to be her savior in her darkest hour. But it's a Trojan horse, it's so insidious. Victoria wants Kane to infiltrate Phyllis's apartment under the guise of friendship and genuine comfort. And while he's there, while Phyllis is pouring her heart out, completely vulnerable, Victoria wants him to plant listening devices, bugs, in her private sanctuary. She wants Kane to record everything, to gather concrete evidence that Phyllis is plotting to steal Victor's AI program. It's an invasion of privacy on the most profound level. It's not just corporate espionage, it's emotional violation. And the fact that Victoria can ask for this without even blinking, it really shows how far gone she is in this war. She has lost all sense of boundaries. Of course, Kane's initial reaction is to refuse. You have to believe that, right? I want to believe that the good in Kane immediately recoiled at the horrific idea. He probably stood up, shook his head, told Victoria she was completely out of her mind. He is trying to be a better man. He is trying to win back Lily. He can't get involved in the Newmans' toxic, endless war with Phyllis. He knows Phyllis. He knows how deeply this would destroy her. And more importantly, he knows that if Lily ever found out he participated in something so vile, she would cut him out of her life forever. He probably told Victoria no, a firm, absolute, unwavering no. But Victoria, she doesn't hear the word no. She just hears negotiate. And this is where the manipulation becomes truly heartbreaking to watch. She doesn't threaten him. She doesn't raise her voice. She just leans in. And she mentions Maddie and Charlie, his children, the twins. The softest, most vulnerable part of Kane's heart. She talks about their future. The rising costs of their lives. The stability that a massive influx of Newman cash could provide. She paints a picture of a future where Kane never has to worry about providing for them again. Where he is the ultimate provider, the ultimate father. She weaponizes his profound love for his kids, and you can almost see the shift in Kane's eyes, that agonizing pause. That moment of hesitation where the moral high ground starts to crumble under the heavy weight of financial anxiety. It's a tragic flaw of his. Kane has always struggled with this deep need to be the big man, the provider, the one who fixes everything, even if he has to take dark, winding paths to get there. Victoria knows this history. She knows he has lied before to protect his image and his family's security. She is playing him like a finely tuned instrument. She reminds him of the financial stability Newman can offer. Not just a one-time payout, but the backing of an absolute empire. It makes you feel sick to your stomach, doesn't it? Watching a man's integrity being bought and sold in a corporate office. Because if Kane agrees to this, the fallout will be apocalyptic. Let's think about Phyllis first. Phyllis is already hanging by a microscopic thread. She has Patty Williams confronting her, bringing up all sorts of historical trauma and chaos. She has Lauren looking at her with deep pity because Michael has basically confirmed her empire is doomed. She is entirely, utterly alone. If Kane walks through her door, offering help, offering a lifeline, she will grab onto it like a drowning woman. She will trust him. She will let her ironclad guard down. And then, the betrayal, when she inevitably discovers the bugs because Phyllis always discovers the truth eventually. She is far too paranoid and smart not to. It won't just be anger she feels. It will be a complete, shattering break of her reality. To know that someone she considered a friend, someone who came to her in her absolute lowest moment, was actually a spy for Victor Newman. It might actually break her. It might push her over the edge into a darkness she can't return from. And the irony is, Victor is already planning to use an AI program to frame Phyllis using old audio of Billy and Kane. Kane is already unwittingly part of Victor's trap, and now Victoria is making him a willing participant in another layer of the same trap. It's a tangled web of deceit that is just suffocating to watch. But the true tragedy, the part that really makes me want to scream at the screen, is Lily. Oh, Lily, she has been through so much. She is currently carrying the weight of the entire world on her shoulders. She just found out that Holden Novak, the man her cousin Nate and Devin have been looking into, is actually her half-brother. Her entire understanding of her family tree is fracturing into a million pieces. And on top of that, her beloved father, Malcolm, is lying in a hospital bed, his life slipping away, desperately needing a bone marrow transplant that the twins couldn't provide. Lily is emotionally raw. She is bleeding out, metaphorically speaking. And in the midst of this unimaginable pain, Kane has been her small sliver of hope. He has stepped up. He has used his vast connections to search for a donor. He is trying to be her rock, her safe harbor. They are finally, tentatively, starting to rebuild that bridge of trust that has been burned down so many times before. You can see the warmth returning to Lily's eyes when she looks at him. She wants to believe he has changed. She wants to believe he is the man she fell in love with all those years ago, before all the lies and the pain. If Kane takes Victoria's money, if he plants those bugs, he is planting a massive bomb right in the middle of his fragile relationship with Lily, because Lily is a woman of profound integrity. She despises the corporate backstabbing, the Newman-style warfare. If she finds out that Kane used Phyllis's extreme vulnerability to line his own pockets to secure a payout from Victor Newman, she won't just be angry, she will be utterly disgusted. It will validate every single doubt she ever had about him. It will prove to her that he is still the same grifter, the same man who will compromise his core morals for a quick fix. And Kane knows this. Deep down, he has to know this. He has to be standing in that office, looking at Victoria, feeling the ghost of Lily's disappointment hovering heavily over his shoulder. It's a little deal with the devil. Save his children's financial future, but destroy the mother of his children's trust forever. It's It's an impossible choice for a man like him, a man who is so easily swayed by the promise of being a savior, even a false one. You know, sometimes I wonder what goes through Victoria's mind when she goes home at night. Does she feel any remorse? Does she think about the family she is actively trying to destroy? She is a mother herself. She knows the profound bond between a parent and a child. Yet, she is perfectly willing to use Kane's children as leverage to force him to commit a deeply unethical act. It just shows that the Newman legacy is a poison that infects everything it touches. Victoria is so focused on protecting the company, on destroying Phyllis, that she has lost all sight of basic human decency. She doesn't care if she ruins Kane and Lily's reunion. To her, they are just collateral damage in the grand, endless war for Newman Enterprises. And let's look at the actual mechanics of this betrayal. Think about Kane having to walk into Phyllis's apartment. He'll probably buy a bottle of expensive wine, or maybe some comforting takeout. He'll put on that charming, concerned face. "Hey Phyllis, I heard what happened with the staff. I'm here for you." It makes my skin literally crawl just thinking about it. He'll sit on her couch, listen to her vent her frustrations, maybe even hold her hand while she cries over the sheer injustice of Victor's relentless attacks. And all the while, his eyes will be darting around the room, looking for the perfect, hidden place to stick a microscopic microphone. Under the coffee table, behind the picture frame. Every single second he spends in that apartment will be an agonizing lie, and Kane is not a sociopath. He feels guilt. He feels it deeply. He will be sweating. He will be terrified of being caught. But the promise of Victoria's money, the vision of his children's secured future, will keep him anchored there, forcing him to complete the treacherous mission. And what if Phyllis actually does confess to something? What if, in her absolute desperation, she admits she is trying to hack into Victor's AI? Kane will be handing Victoria the exact bullet she needs to execute Phyllis professionally and legally. He will be the executioner, disguised perfectly as a friend. It's fascinating, too, to consider how this all ties into the broader AA storyline. Victor is already planning to use his AI to generate fake audio of Kane and Billy Abbott to frame Phyllis for illegal activities from her time at Chancellor. So Kane's voice is already being weaponized against Phyllis without his knowledge. And now, Victoria wants his physical presence to be weaponized as well. Kane is entirely surrounded by the Newman machinery, being used as a pawn on multiple, devastating fronts. It's almost suffocating to realize how little control he actually has over his own life right now. He thinks he's making a conscious choice to secure his kid's future, but he's really just snatching blindly into a trap that Victor and Victoria have laid out for him. I just keep coming back to Lily, the sheer devastation this will cause her. She is sitting by Malcolm's bedside, praying for a miracle, relying entirely on Kane to be her strength when she has none left. And Kane is out there, making backroom, dirty deals with Victoria Newman to spy on a woman who is already losing everything. The contrast between Lily's pure, desperate love for her father and Kane's murky, compromised morality is absolutely staggering. It's the classic tragedy of their relationship. Every time they get close, every time they seem to find their way back to each other, a secret, a lie, or a terrible decision tears them apart again. And this time it might truly be the final nail in the coffin. Because this isn't just a white lie to protect her feelings. This is a calculated, malicious act of espionage driven by financial greed and manipulated by Victoria Newman. Lily will see it as the ultimate betrayal of her values. She will look at Kane and she won't see the father of her children, the man who tried so hard to save Malcolm. She will see a corporate mercenary who sold out a desperate woman for a Newman paycheck. She will see a stranger. It makes you want to reach right through the screen and shake him, doesn't it? Kane, wake up. Don't do it. The money isn't worth it. Lily's love is worth more. But that's the beauty and the agonizing pain of these characters. They are so deeply flawed, so driven by their insecurities and their past traumas. Kane's insecurity about being a good provider, his deep-seated need to feel powerful and in control, is exactly what Victoria is exploiting. She found the microscopic crack in his armor and she drove a massive wedge right through it. As we watch this storyline unfold, we are going to see a masterclass in tension. Every single time Kane is near Phyllis, we will be holding our breath. Every time he looks at Lily, we will feel the crushing, suffocating weight of his guilt. And every time Victoria smirks in her office, we will feel the freezing chill of the Newman ruthlessness. The stakes have never been higher, not just for the Summers conglomerate, but for the very souls of these characters. Will Kane actually go through with it? Will he plant the bugs and hand Phyllis over to Victoria on a silver platter? Or will his conscience or his profound love for Lily finally override his fear and his greed? It is a precipice, a terrifying edge that he is standing on. And whichever way he falls, the landscape of Genoa City is going to be forever changed. The fallout from this single decision will ripple outward, destroying friendships, shattering romances, and solidifying the Newman Empire's dominance in the most brutal way possible. You really have to think about the absolute isolation Phyllis is experiencing right now to understand why Kane's arrival would be so impactful. I mean, look at her usual support system, Jack Abbott. He is completely ruined, financially decimated and evicted from his own ancestral home by Diane Jenkins. He has absolutely nothing left to give her, no power to shield her from Victor, Nick Newman. He is literally chained to a floor in a terrifying subterranean basement in Las Vegas, being tortured by Matt Clark. Her usual knights in shining armor are fighting their own horrific battles. She is on an island, and Victoria knows this. Victoria knows that Phyllis has no backup, no cavalry coming over the hill. That's what makes Kane's potential arrival at her door so incredibly potent. He would look like an absolute oasis in the middle of a burning day in the Sahara Desert. And what about Victoria's internal monologue during all of this? You have to wonder if she feels a twinge of dark pride, knowing she is executing a plan that even Victor would applaud. She isn't just following her father's orders, she is innovating. Victor's plan is the AI, the grand technological frame-up. But Victoria's plan is the psychological knife twist. She is securing the physical evidence, the emotional betrayal. She looks at Kane Ashby and she doesn't see a father or a struggling man, she sees a tool. A blunt instrument to be used and discarded when it serves its purpose. It's a level of detachment that is genuinely frightening. She is playing chess with human lives, and she is playing to completely obliterate her opponent. Let's dig into Kane's history for a second, because it really informs why he is so susceptible to this kind of manipulation. Remember when he first came to town. The lies about his identity, the constant struggle to prove he belonged in the upper echelons of Genoa City society. Kane has always had a complex about wealth and status, a deep-seated fear of not being enough for Lily or for his family. Victoria is pressing directly on that ancient bruise. She is telling him, you can be the powerful provider, you can secure your legacy, all you have to do is this one little dark deed. It's the exact same trap he has fallen into time and time again. He thinks he can control the lie, that he can manage the fallout, but the lie always ends up controlling him. Imagine the actual moment he tries to plant the device, the sheer, suffocating anxiety of it. He's sitting in Phyllis's luxurious apartment, maybe she just stepped into the kitchen to grab them a drink. The silence in the room would be deafening. His heart would be hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. He reaches into his pocket, his fingers brushing against the cold metal of the tiny listening device. Where does he put it? Under the edge of the sofa, behind the intricate base of a table lamp. Every second she is out of the room feels like an hour, the sweat beating on his forehead. The sickening realization of what he is actually doing. He is betraying a friend. He is selling his soul. And when Phyllis walks back into the room, handing him a glass, offering a tired but genuine smile of gratitude for his presence, how does he even look her in the eye? How does he swallow the bile rising in his throat? He will have to sit there, sipping his drink, listening to her pour out her fears about Victor, her anger at her staff, her desperate plans to survive, knowing that every single word is being transmitted directly to Victoria Newman's servers. It is an act of psychological violence, masked as comfort. It is, quite frankly, one of the darkest things Kane could possibly do. The ripple effects of this, they are going to be monumental. If Kane succeeds, Victoria gets her evidence. She pairs it with Victor's AI-generated audio, and they present a package to the authorities that completely destroys Phyllis Summers. Phyllis goes to prison, or is forced to hand over everything she has left just to stay out of a cell. The Summers conglomerate is absorbed or dismantled. Victoria stands victorious, the undisputed queen of the corporate battlefield. But what happens to Kane in that scenario? He gets his money. His children's trust funds are overflowing, but he is a hollow man. He will have to look at Lily every single day, knowing he built their financial security on the ruins of another woman's life. He will have to live with the constant, knowing terror that the truth will come out. Because in Genoa City, the truth is like water. It always finds a way through the cracks. Someone will find out. A paper trail will be uncovered. Victoria might even use the knowledge of his complicity to blackmail him in the future, turning him into a permanent puppet of the Newman Empire. It's a tragedy in the truest sense of the word. We are watching a man slowly walk toward the edge of a cliff, completely mesmerized by the shiny gold coins Victoria is holding out over the abyss. We want to yell, we want to stop him, but we are just helpless spectators to his moral decay. The intersection of all these storylines, Malcolm's illness, the Holden revelation, Victor's AI plot, And now this devastating personal betrayal, it creates a perfect storm of drama that is going to leave Genoa City unrecognizable. We are in for a truly heartbreaking, pulse-pounding ride, and I, for one, am bracing myself for the impact. Every choice has a consequence, and Kane is about to learn that some prices are simply too high to pay.